Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahushai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening. Gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, we're going to get into this book again right here. Atlantis, the antediluvian world. Except now we have a little twist going on with this one. I went ahead and got my hands on the first edition of this book. And there's over 100+ pages that was taken out of this book right here. And many illustrations that were in the first edition were taken out of this edition. They actually put, there was 3 to 4 pages listed for illustrations in the first edition that were taken out of this one. What they did was they took out all the illustrations. They took out all of the references in the from the first edition, and they just threw it goes out. You go to page 170, and it's got maybe 5 or 6 pages of some just random pictures, and then that's what they put in the middle of the book. But you see, the thing is that people always tell us our history. They always want to tell us that we came from Africa. They always want to tell us that, before slavery, we didn't have a history. But as you get a hold of these books and you start to study, you start to realize the pattern. That we were absolutely everywhere. We were teaching everyone. And that's something that they wanted hidden. Because again, they wanted everybody to think that they were the ones that had the covenant, and that they were the ones that were supposed to be going out and preaching to the world and teaching the world the white man's burden to teach the whole world, to civilize the whole world. But the Most High had already civilized the world through his chosen people. We fell off. The other nations got their turn. But the main theme that you'll see with all these books and all these changes is they're always trying to hide our accomplishments. They're always trying to tell us what we did and did not do. That burden that the white man had is being taken from him now. He doesn't have to worry about going out and teaching the world anymore. I think the whole world is pretty much done with the white man thinking he has a burden to teach them anything. Because now you're realizing that he's been giving us nothing but lies. Now I'm going to have to skip back and forth a little bit, but just check this out. You're going to see the differences right here. And this is just first couple of pages that I got to, and there's going to be a whole bunch more. I think a lot of it is hiding our connection, our people's connections with Atlantis. That's why they give very little information about Atlantis. They have a lot of information, but they just don't give it to us, or they make it very, very expensive, or people don't put the connections together, between, getting this book and then going and finding the first edition and then reading and taking time with that. See, that's why they gave all of us one book, the Bible, and they want us to just run around in circles talking about the same things over and over again, because they don't want us to realize that, they have hijacked our history and given our history and our accomplishments to everybody else and given us absolutely nothing. That's why the whole world looks at us as not, as being inconsequential. You sit here and you hear them talking about prophecy, but where are we in prophecy? See, everybody else has a place to, a part to play in prophecy, but the real people of the book have absolutely no part to play, according to them. But in reality, everything revolves around us. check this part out here. That's what the first edition looks like. This is from the Blue Book, okay? Let's see here. We'll start with where it says, without Atlantis. How can we explain the fact that the early Egyptians were depicted by themselves as red men on their own monuments? And on the other hand, how can we account for the representations of Negroes on the monuments in Central America? And then Le Plongeon says, okay, now remember, look where it says Central America and then Le Plongeon, okay? There's going to be a huge difference. Check this out. There we go. Without Atlantis, how can we explain the fact that the early Egyptians were depicted by themselves as red men on their own monuments? And on the other hand, how can we account for the representations of Negroes on the monuments of Central America? So they went ahead and cut all of this out right here, and they cut out all these pictures right here. There you go. So see right here, all that information is just cut out. They'll say it, but they won't. If you want to look for some pictures, you better go, be ready to go do some research, because they're not going to put it all in one place for you. Let's check it out. Where we are here, Desiree Charney, now engaged in exploring those monuments, has published in the North American Review for December 1880 photographs of a number of idols exhumed at San Juan de Teotihuacan, from which I select the following strikingly Negroid faces. So he gave you the faces right here. Now, if you listen to them, they're going to say it's something else, but who cares what they say? See, at this point, I don't, I'll listen to sometimes they'll say, just so I can kind of get a reference as to what I don't want, I'm not going to accept, because they're going to lie about absolutely everything. Usually I try to go the opposite. If they say something, I'll look at the opposite first and see if I can prove the opposite. If they try to interject themselves, I'm going to interject myself in it. I said, because it makes much more sense when it's our people. They're the ones that have, gone out of their way to make it seem as if, we have no history. But why is that? Because they do things just like this. This is the devilish things that they do. So check out those faces right there. So they skipped all that. They took all that out right there. So I select the following strikingly Negroid faces. So those were the faces right there. And then they just conveniently took that out. So, when they're constantly taking out our pictures, taking out our history, we caught them red-handed. There's references to Irish and the Scottish and the Atlantis book and the Atlantis book. So I'll be making some videos on that as well. That's why the Black Celts book was so important, because then all of a sudden we can now make the connections to the Irish. So they'll put this in these books, this information, but they'll say it's about the Irish or the British. But now we know that was talking about us. So it's kind of like, incognito, a way of talking about us, but not letting people know that they're talking about us. So let me go here. Okay. So we got to go back here to the first one and continue to read a little bit. Le Plongeon says, besides the sculptures of long-bearded men seen by the explorer at Chichen Itza, there were tall figures of people with small heads, thick lips, and curly short hair, or wool, regarded as Negroes. So now you got Chichen Itza talking about Negroes as well. We always see them as standard or parasol bearers, but never engaged in actual warfare. Okay? So again, you got right here. Le Plongeon says, besides the sculptures of long-bearded men seen by the explorer at Chichen Itza, there were tall figures of people with small heads, thick lips, and curly short hair or wool, regarded as Negroes. So that's why, they can't place people that are there today and say that those were the ones that were there thousands of years ago. We've been mixed in, yes. So in every group, there's going to be some of our people, and the Most High knows who they are, and the Most High is waking them up. But if many of them haven't accepted the truth, hey, that's between the Most High and them. We're bringing the information out, but that's why I don't accept anyone unless you show in your spirit that you're one of our people. But that's what they've done all over the world. They've gone all over the world, and then certain people that are there, they get our title for like being there all the time. No one has been like, as soon as they got power, they went around the world conquering. And then they're the ones that make the borders. And then they're the ones that say, well, this group of people are Peruvians. These ones are Chileans. These ones are Brazilians. That's all bywords set up by the Edomites and the Gentiles. They're all complicit. Everyone is complicit. So you can easily see that the original people, hold on here, that were in Central America, these places, look like this. They conveniently took these pages and these pictures and these references out of the later editions of the book. Okay? So let's continue reading a little bit more. As the Negroes have never been a sea-going race. Here we go. Negroes have never been a sea-going race. Negroes have never been on ships. It's only been us. That's really saying something when you guys were the ones that couldn't find the New World until 1492. How in the hell do you fix your lips to say that Negroes were never a sea-faring people? But you guys couldn't even find the New World here, or to you guys. You couldn't find the Americas until 1492 with help from the Most High and the Holy Spirit. So I think the people who weren't really seafaring or seagoing people were you. Like I said, that's why you switch it. Were we the ones that weren't seagoing people? Of course not. We were going all over the world. We were the Phoenicians. We were going all over the world. We just didn't tell you. Because we know that as soon as we told you, you try to go in there and take over everything. That was part of the blessing. Part of the blessing was that you would never know where our people were. You wouldn't be able to go to the Americas. That was part of our covenant. We didn't tell you about it. So the ones that were not seagoing people were you. You got the blessing. You got Britain. You got those ley lines. You got that power. And then all of a sudden, you got a navy. You got to make sure that no one else knows that we were the ones that were doing it first. So therefore, now you do just like this in books and hide all this information. And then you give false histories. Again, as the Negroes have never been a seagoing race, the presence of these faces among the antiquities of Central America proves one of two things. Either the existence of a land connection between America and Africa via Atlantis, as revealed by the deep sea soundings of the Challenger, or the commercial relations between America and Africa through the ships of the Atlanteans or some other civilized race. See, Atlantis or some other civilized race. I'm sure they're meaning another white race. Must have gave us a ride over here, because Negroes were never a seagoing people. You see, they come up with a hypothesis, and then they try to make everything fit that hypothesis. Everything's got to fit the fact that we weren't a seagoing people. It could never be said or accepted that we actually knew the seas better than them. That's something that they are not going to admit to. So now everything's got to fit their hypothesis. Okay? It says Atlanteans or some other civilized race, whereby the Negroes were brought to America as slaves at a very remote epoch. So now they're trying to say that we were brought here as slaves even way before Columbus. You see how evil these people are. Take away your history, lie about it the whole time, and then refuse to tell the truth. Everything that they say has got to fit their guess, their hypothesis. Let's see, let's check this out from the older first edition. Here, yes, right here. Now, got this right here. This is what Dr. Leplongian says, and we read that already. But see, this actually, the first edition has references to where you can get more information. They took all that out, just like they did with the Bible and the precepts. Remember the old Bible that I have that has the precepts, and it has precepts also from the Apocrypha. But they just take out all the precepts and then say, oh, well, there's no precepts for the Apocrypha, so we'll take that out too. They do exactly the same thing all the time. And the Most High is just exposing them. And now see, they cut this part out right here, where it says, the following cut is from the court of the palace of Palenque, figured by Stevens. The face is strongly Ethiopian. So they talk about even over here in Palenque, which is like one of the most beautiful and astounding cities, okay, that was already over here. And they always say, well, we don't know who built it. We don't know who built it. But they'll give us a picture and say, oh, okay, well, we're sure these are the people that were here the whole time. Doesn't work like that. Not when you've hidden all this information. You don't have a seat at the table anymore to be trying to tell us the truth. So it says right here, the face is strongly Ethiopian. And we already know that our people and the Ethiopians look alike. It says there's even more here. The figure below represents a gigantic granite head found near the volcano of Tuxtla in the Mexican state of Veracruz at Caxapa. The features are unmistakably Negroid. See, they take all that information out. As the Negroes have never been a seagoing race, the presence of these faces among the antiquities of Central America proves one of two things. Either the existence of a land connection between America and Africa via Atlantis, as revealed by the deep sea sounding of the Challenger, or commercial relations between America and Africa through the ships of the Atlanteans or some other civilized race, whereby the Negroes were brought to America as slaves at a very remote epoch. Okay? So as you can see, they took out connections, they took out, you being able to go and do your research yourself. They're taking out where they're getting the information from, they're hiding their sources, they're hiding pictures. Okay? And we'll definitely use more information here later on. But I wanted you guys to see this right here, especially like I said, when you look here and you see how they just took all that information out. So I just wanted you guys to get a good chance to see what they were finding here in Central America. The monuments, representations of Negroes on the monuments of Central America. That's why a lot of the natives that are there now, the ones that were there even said that we didn't build these things. These things were here before we got there. Well, then now you got to go back to what was there before. What were the statues looking like? They don't want to admit that, so they hide all that information. We got them again, and more lies, and more are coming, Father. And more are coming. Thank the Most High. All praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.